Hi there everyone, thanks to my new subscribers and to my old subscribers. Tonight I'm going to do How Does He Feel About You? For the first deck I have the Ace of Swords, the Queen of Swords and the Two of Swords. If this reading resonates, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link. So what this deck tells me is that you're a supremely independent person. You're very smart. You find it difficult to open up to your person, but you realize that you both want a new relationship with one another. There's like a lot of passion, a lot of discussion, a lot of devotion on your part and passion. Sometimes you get in your mind to cut this relationship down or to cut this person down. And I feel that you're constantly making a decision over whether you want this man or not. Because you're very sharp in the mind. Very sharp. Even though you feel a devotion to this person and you feel devoted to one another, I think the issue is your unwillingness to open up emotionally with this man. I feel you can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. That's the impression I get. You can really snap. I see this is a very strong relationship in the respect that it can be argumentative. That's what it shows. It can be supremely argumentative. He's a smart guy, you're a smart person. And so the challenge is you're always fighting the love. You're always fighting the emotions in this relationship. You can see with the Ace of Swords there that there's a lot of potential between you both. You know, that that you are the one for him, the only one for him. In these cards, it doesn't show a third party. It just shows you. But there seems to be constant arguments between you. And if you're not, this is on a physical plane, obviously, but if you're not in a direct relationship with this man and it's just a soul relationship, well, then you're having, you're dipping in and out of this relationship, and it's based on your thoughts. So sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out. And it has a lot to do with your consciousness and your mentality, because you have a very strong mind. And instead of feeling those emotions, feeling that passion, feeling that devotion and moving this relationship forward in a more genteel fashion, you're very hard and cold about your approach to this relationship. And it's deeply conflicted you, because I can see the devotion, I can see the passion, I can see the energy between you. I can see your independence in this spread, your desire to keep as independent as possible. That's what these cards show. But it's like, here you are picking up this deck. So I think that's the passion and the devotion, which leads you to wonder, because it shows very strongly in these cards that you have an unwillingness to have this relationship move forward smoothly. That's what it shows very strongly. It shows that you could be a divorced or a separated person. That's quite possible, because for some of you it shows that you have 3 children. So that's quite possible, because that's your situation. But I see here you have a focus on your independence. You sort of live between worlds at the moment. You're focused on your independence and you're focused on your togetherness. And you're like so extraordinary because you want to be together. You're not exactly butting heads at the time being, but you're both over-analyzing this relationship. That's what it shows. You are both over-analyzing it because you're both extremely intelligent people. And the problem's going to be, or the challenge is going to be in this relationship, that if you don't tap into your emotional side or try to tap into it and try to sympathize and try to empathize with one another, then this relationship, you could butt heads continually into the future. There is a possibility that you could separate because you both feel the same way about one another. You know, when I'm speaking about yourself, but those are his feelings towards you. His feelings towards you is that you're an extremely sharp woman that doesn't feel things, feel his point of view or understand his point of view. And even though it's attractive to him and you are very much his queen, you are very much his queen in this spread, it also shows that he feels like you constantly push him away. You push him away, you push him away, and it's funny because it sort of feels to me like it suits him in some way because he's also very analytical, and that seems acceptable because you're his most important person on so many levels, on a physical level, on physical plane, on an emotional plane, and on a mental plane. So you do fit the bill. It's just that you have no ability to empathize with him. And so it keeps causing you to separate, because I see that you are constantly going back and forth and decisions have to be made. Do we stay together? Do we remain apart? Do we stay together? Do we remain apart? Those are the constant, and it's all about the relationship as well. There's a central focus on the relationship, it's very important to you, this relationship. It's important to him. And you're both thinking about this relationship in exactly the same manner. And I think these cards are trying to say things aren't always black and white. There's a lot of different elements to a relationship, but you're both treating it as, black and white. So I get the impression from these cards that you cause an argument or you both argue with one another. It says that you are quite argumentative towards him. So when you argue and when you have these discussions, I think your feeling on it is that he should understand your perspective, and that's what's going to keep you together, right? You don't think about it in an emotional capacity where you're thinking, gee, that's hurt me. That action has hurt me. I feel upset about that. I really need to express to him that I don't want him to act that way towards me, or I don't want him to make that action towards me, or, I don't want him to see another woman, whatever. Instead of expressing yourself on an emotional level, you are expressing yourself on an intellectual level, right? So you're not getting the results that you want from this relationship, because basically you're not dealing with this person on an emotional level. You're dealing with this person on a very intellectual level. So every time you feel hurt, you turn it into something mental, you process that via your mentality. You don't process that with your feelings, and it's showing that he feels towards you that you're too independent at the moment. You're too self-sufficient. He feels that you don't need him, and it's pushing him away. It keeps pushing him away. The only thing that really brings you back together is that he is also a very intelligent person, and he wants to understand you. That's what it says. He wants to understand what your problem is so that you can move forward in love, in a relationship, because on that level you are very well suited. There's nothing to separate you in an intellectual space. You both have very strong minds. You've just got to go about expressing yourself in a more loving way, in a more understanding way, so that you can stay together as a loving couple. That's what these cards are saying. Because I can see it's a very sweet love to me. It's a cherished love. Like, you are deeply enamored. He is deeply enamored with you, but you're like, I thought, he feels that you can be a thorn in the side sometimes. That's how he feels. He's very passionate about you. He feels like you're best friends. And I can see how it is that you're best friends, because you are both smart people. And you both need another intellectual person opposite you to keep your faculties working. So you are well suited, but you really need to work. These cards just say you really need to work on the togetherness, and you're not doing that. It also shows here that you could possibly be up at night a lot. So I think you overthink your relationship. It's become a really big central focus, and it's keeping you up at night, basically. So basically these cards are saying that you've just got to show more understanding towards this man, because he feels that you're shutting him out, that you're too severe with him at times, even though he has those lovely feelings of love, sweetness, and a beautiful, it's a beautiful cherished love as well. So you've got to maybe soften down, and that then the relationship can move forward in a more genteel fashion, and you'll get what you want that way. Whereas at the moment you're not getting what you want because you're being too hard towards him. Okay, so that was deck 1. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link. This is deck 2. How does he feel towards my channel viewer? I have the 8 of Cups, Judgment, and Death. So what this shows me is that he has deep love towards you. But again, it shows that something has happened, that this relationship or this circumstance between you is at the point of an end. It's like an ending. So you must have broken up. If you're in a direct relationship, I think he's the one that walked away from you, because I can see you're picking up this deck and you're saying to yourself, well, what's going on? Because we've broken up. Things have been finalized between us. And if this is a soul relationship, you feel that things have been finalized between the pair of you. So what's going on? How does he feel towards me now that we've broken up? It simply says that he's a man in love that has nowhere else to go. It's like this relationship is at a natural end, but he still has energy for it. It's like with the 8 of Cups here, it shows me that something about it, this relationship, was very loving. But he's had to walk away because he has some difficulties in his personal life, some big difficulties. It's not that you broke apart from one another because you had a big fight. That's not what it's saying. It's saying that he needs to keep you safe in some way. He needs to preserve the love between you. And he feels like he's an outsider looking in because there's something in his life that is hard. And it has something to do with a big difficulty in his life, a big obstacle. It's like he's left you for another day. He's said to himself, I really need to preserve the love between us. I love her very much. I think we could have a family together. but I've got these difficulties at the moment. I've got to deal with these difficulties. If I don't face the obstacle, if I don't work my way through the obstacle, we have no chance. So that's how this relationship has led to an ending. Now you may be saying, well, it hasn't really ended because we've been separated, and I feel it's just a soul connection. I really don't feel like we've been in a physical relationship. Well, what it's saying is that on his side, he loves you very much. Those emotions are very strong, but he's had to go and confront something in his own life, and that's why you haven't heard from him. That's why the relationship wasn't progressed when you met, and when after, that's why nothing was followed through. It's also on a soul plane. It's saying that on a soul plane, he's moved away from this relationship just so he can deal with whatever he needs to deal with. He feels like he's a person adjudged. So to me, it sort of shows like something really serious has happened in his life. And whatever's happened in his life has directly affected your relationship. Because it shows that you built up a loyalty towards one another when you met. And that you love one another deeply. It's actually quite a mature reading because he's dealing with something that's been on the go before you met. It's like he's always felt that he was on the outside looking in on you, like he could never really have you. And the reason that he felt he could never really have you is because he's had these worries about whatever difficulty he has in his life. He's very jealous about, jealous and possessive about that love he feels for you. So I don't think he's going to let you go easily. That's the positive aspect of it. He knows that whatever happened before you met or whatever happened since you met is too big. Like, he can't bring it into your existence because it would tip over those cups that he's left in a very nice, neat pile, in a very preserved manner. He is keeping those emotions intact for you. He's placed them in a very safe place. He's neatly stacked them. He knows where he has put them. But he has to face this dilemma in his own life. To keep you safe and to preserve his emotions and to keep you from the obstacle that he now has to face. So it just says to me that yes, if you would like to be clinical about this reading, things have ended between you on both sides, not on just one side. You felt this relationship has reached its end point. He feels your relationship has reached its end point. But also it says on both sides, you are preserving those feelings for one another, for another time. And I can confirm with you that his love towards you is very deep. And he's conserving his love for you. Because it's like when he met you, life began again for him. That's what it says. I can see he's being very introspective. He's thought about through your relationship, the potential for a relationship between you a lot. He's really given it substantial thought. You have also given it substantial thought. So you're both considering one another on an emotional level, but in a very considered way. It doesn't show in these cards that you're ending it because things were acrimonious, things weren't great between you. It's saying you had to end it because you both have things going on in your own lives that you have to deal with. But particularly him, because he's the one that has decided in his mind that he has to deal with these obstacles in front of him first before you can continue on in a loving relationship. So all the elements are right. He feels love for you. He feels loyalty towards you. He feels a passion towards you. All the elements are stable between you. That's what it shows. He's just felt lately that he's a dead man walking. That's the impression I get. He's getting through the days as best he can. But it's only because, and he's having fun along the way. He's trying to have fun. But really there's something inside him which is morbid, and it's because he hasn't faced the obstacle he needs to face. It could be on any level, and it could be on any scale. It could be a health issue, it could be a work issue, it could be an external issue, it could be anything. But what it's saying is that he knows within himself that this situation needs to be brought to judgment so that he can move on in life. He can transform and be reborn. That's what it says, reborn. And it's almost as if, I don't know, it's on a small scale of thing. It's, if I'm going to be objective and if I'm going to give this a very objective perspective, it's like finding something you really want to buy because it has sentimental value and it will bring happiness to your life and it will bring longevity, a long-term use to you, or a long-term feeling of satisfaction, anything, and you can't take it out of the shop window, or you can't get your hands on it for whatever reason. So you go away and you decide that you're going to acquire that thing on another day. If you take that example and you apply it to a more emotional based situation, that's what he's done. So you're very precious to him, extremely precious, but he's suffering from something at the moment, and he's suffering from it because something hasn't been dealt with in his life, and he needs to deal with it. And it's saying that in the present he is dealing with it, and once he moves out of dealing with that situation, then he can rebuild. That's what it's saying. And he wants to rebuild with you on an emotional level, because he identified in you somebody that was a kindred spirit. That's what it's saying. And because he built up that possessiveness, that jealous possessiveness, and that loyalty towards you almost instantaneously. So you are somebody very important to him, and I don't think he expressed how much he was in love with you, but he was very much in love with you. And it says that you met in the past and that you haven't seen him because just recently, because he's very independent in this scenario. But he wants to be the good person for you. He's just got to deal with this difficulty in his life, because if he doesn't deal with it, then he can't move forward with you. And that's why this situation is at an end. But to me, it's just a temporary end, because this relationship could be potentially life-changing. And there's a lot of fresh starts for him. And with, there's a lot of transformation of self in these cards. So once he deals with all that, whatever it may be, once he deals with it, I feel that he will try to find a way back to you. That's what these cards are saying. But he has to deal with these obstacles first, because if he doesn't do that, he can't be the angel for you. Like, it's almost as psychosomatic. He's got to think and feel that he is the angel for you in every possible way, so that he can love you properly. So that's why it's at an end at the moment, but there is going to be a rebirth. And there's a strong possibility that you can move forward in love, just not at this present time. Okay, so that was deck 2. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below.